I'm calling this meeting to order, September 15th. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Is anybody signed up for public forum online or signed up here? I want to remind you that we will only be having public comment for 3 minutes. Please keep it concise. You can sit up there in that chair if you're here in the audience. Okay, we're going to start off with Mark Chase, please. Police officer Mark Chase.
Oh, I mean,
Oh, wait, are we not in?
we're not in order yet.
We're not in order yet?
We do the introductions, you ask people to sign up. I just have to make a couple announcements.
Okay. I just saw
Yeah, got it.
public forum sign up. Sorry.
So that's okay. I'll have a couple of announcements.
Sorry, sir. Sorry.
Karen, do you have the key to my office? Can you, the bags for the board are in that office on the floor. So Karen is gonna pass out little back to school bags that we gave to all staff, but we're also giving them to the board.
Thank you.
And,
Do you have doggy biscuits?
there are no doggy, are there doggy biscuits? No, there are no doggy biscuits. There's a power bar in there and a bottle of water.
Well, those always come in.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, candy.
So,
And we had several sponsors that contributed to the bags, and the teachers and the staff all loved it. Everybody got one, so it was a lot of fun.
I love that. That's so cute. Thank you.
It has our little logo on there, and yeah.
They're hungry. They're free. Oh, yeah, I might actually.
yeah, I know.
I want to bust in, but I won't.
I know.
Okay, that is really cute. Thank you. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was very
Yeah,
generous
you're
and kind.
Yeah. And then the other piece that I'm gonna announce is that we are having problems getting people to sign up for the blood drive. And so I will email you a flyer that has a QR code that you can share to other people and they can sign up for spots. The reason we're having such a problem is because the day of the blood drive, we have a ton of athletic events that day. And all the kids have sports.
Yeah.
And that's usually who is the big participant in the blood drive. So I will get that out in an email tomorrow, but it'll also go on our website and all of that. So
What day is that again?
it is on September 21st. And we'll have,
That's why I can't do it.
I'm sorry, maybe next time.
And that's all of the announcements that I have.
Okay, cool. So can we go into approval of the minutes? Did any of the board members see anything that needed to be updated or corrected?
So I have one question for, was it really public forum sign up included Director A. Contreras or was it Bustamante? Was he here? I can't remember if he came in late.
That's what I thought I was.
Yes, Henry came in late. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, then we're good. Thank you. I was like, I could not remember and I was like, okay, so.
So we need to approve the working session and the regular session.
Nomination, that's not what I want. Okay. All right. Okay, I move that the Jervis School District #1 Board of Directors approve the consent items, or is it the approval of minutes, the approval of minutes, right?
From working session.
From working session. Which I should have it. It's right here. August 15th, 2022. And the regular session, August 18th, 2022.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Okay, now we can move to public forum. Please keep it to 3 minutes. If one of us can time it, that'd be great. And then,
I got my own time. I'll tell you.
okay, awesome.
Tell me when I can start.
You can start right now. Thank you for signing up.
Mark Chase, address is 592 4th Street, Police Chief, City of Jervis. I just wanted to say, I want to appreciate all the new staff, the principals, Danny's leadership, We have a great partnership. Oftentimes I don't get the opportunity to come and talk to you, but I thought I'd take this opportunity. Kind of start with the morning for safety. We patrol school grounds every morning, generally before the students get there, both at the grade school, high school, and around the middle school. They're both the same campus. We don't walk around each building every day, but we definitely drive through looking for anybody suspicious. And in the past, we occasionally find somebody, but I wanted the board to know that's our commitment, part of our process of supporting you. Absolutely. We also have the student success officer. You saw the office today. That's an important part, and I want you to know that I encourage him to be in the school as much as possible. We're starting a DARE program again in the 5th grade. We've done all 3 grades now. So 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, they're at the middle school, all have taken the 5th grade DARE program. And so we're going to try to start the 8th graders this year. So that way, when they transition to high school, we can do the high school. So hopefully the current 8th graders that are in the school will graduate, which will meet some of the goals there of your mission and vision of helping resilient kids with the evidence-based classes of DARE. But most of all, I just want to say thank you for reaching out and your comments and the council meeting the other day. I appreciate your vision for the kids. And as the police chief and the police department worked a few different places, and want you to know that there's nothing more important safety wise than our children during the day that attend school, period. And I really appreciate Danny's encouragement, partnership, communication. There's times that we have to call each other late at night or early in the morning about issues, not very often, but she's very open and very communicative, and I try to be that way back to her. And always I can do whatever I can to talk about the facts regarding the bond. I can't necessarily say yes or no in uniform, but I can talk about public safety issues like the vestibule, the hallway issue that I mentioned, and the congestion that it causes. I forgot to do my timer.
That's okay.
But anyway, I like to come back occasionally just to share different things that we're finding, but know that I value your time and Andy's time, and we appreciate the partnership. It's very important. And I finish with this. There may be legislation again in the 2023 regarding school officers on campus. And I've been working hard with dealing with both the Republican and the Democratic side. So I can't take sides. I've met with both groups to try to hopefully educate them as to the value of the partnership that we have. And our system here looks a little different than some other schools throughout the state, to encourage that bill, if it does raise its head again, to be hopefully die in committee, that they can't eliminate officers in the school, that it should be an individual board choice, individual superintendent choice. But I've been given information that may potentially be a bill again this coming 2023 legislative session. I hope not, but working behind the scenes to at least educate people as to how detrimental that would be for not only Jervis, but around the state.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Lenthal, are you here still? Or did you?
When the
Okay, all right, well then we'll just continue. We'll go down to, looks like financial report. So Karen,
Right, I'll keep it short.
we have all night.
Like I need to go home and ice.
Sorry.
You just,
Oh, I'm sorry.
because I've been at a conference, I've been walking around that. Like, okay, so in my board packet, I gave you a couple different types of reports that you don't normally see. And they just show kind of lined up 3 years, so you can see what our actuals were. And I'll tell you about page number, so. The page number is kind of cut off. 33 is the first one. It's just a different way of presenting the same information, but to put down, to give you the 2021 actuals in the first column, and the 21-22, and then our adopted budget, just see how those lie out for the past 3 years. So I did that for you for general fund. And then back on page 35, I did the same for special revenue funds. And I just find it in the federal sources, on the top segment, you see the federal sources. And you'll see 2021 had the 3.374 million, really high. And then the actuals for 21-22 went down to 2 million. But we still have an adopted budget of 3.4. That's where we kind of build some capacity for other grants. So it is large. It was so large for the actuals in 2021 because of how much we did in food service. Food service really was very high, and that's one of the main drivers behind that high number. So the other part of my board packet is the calendar, part of the budget process as we bring out the calendar at this time of year. And with the, of the, steps that we're gonna go throughout the budget process. And the first step we have is that on September 15th today, that hopefully you would appoint the budget officer, which normally is myself. So that is part of the consent action items. I think we just do it in consent, don't we? And so it'll be there. You don't have to say anything. I put it there because I was copying from my last year and I realized you don't need it. So anyway, and we're shooting for May 4th for that first budget committee meeting as well. And I went a little bit, I talked a little bit about the paid family and medical leave insurance. I can give you some more information on that at the next meeting, because today was such a long meeting. So any questions for me?
Thank you so much, Karen.
Okay, my report, I included some information about the bond or potential bond, and I had Piper Sandler work up just some, what we're looking at cost wise now. So last year when we had our pull some numbers for us, we were looking at kind of different amounts, 15, 18, 21 million, 31 million. And so I had her go 17 million and 20 million at both 15 years and 20 years, just to see kind of where we're at. And as I said in my report, the bottom line is that if you borrow 20 million at 20 years, it's going to cost you $1.87. And last year, if you borrowed 21 million at 20 years, it cost you $1.76. So what we're looking at right now is you borrow $1 million less and it costs you 11 cents more. That's the state of inflation right now, right? And so, as we progress through the fall, we'll be talking about what kind of number you want to go for. Maybe you want to go for the whole thing again. I don't know. Or maybe you want to do pieces of it. I don't know. But I'm going to have this gauge kind of going every 6 weeks so we can kind of see where we're at, what the numbers are crunching in at. I'm also thinking about proposing the last week in October, the first week in November, to do some targeted community engagement by precinct. And so once I kind of hammer that out, I will probably include that in one of my weekly updates in the next few weeks. If it works out in your schedule that you can come, great. If not, what I'm going to do is target. I have addresses where people live who I think are supporters. So then I will pick those people then to get other people who may not be supporters. And now that we've had the city council here, I'll also be depending on them to be looking at these mailing addresses and tell me who needs to be at these meetings. So that is in the works. And then the other piece, I just wanted to remind you, the OSBA conference, it is actually in Portland. It's a pretty fun conference. You do have money in your budget, in the board budget, to be able to attend the conference and stay in a hotel. If you want to do that. But the hotel reservations for the Marriott go very fast. And so if you want to do that, you need to let Sandra know, because it opens up on September 27th for that registration. I will bet days. November 11th through the 13th. So it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
And you don't have to go the whole thing. You might just want to go to a couple of things. I will be presenting with the Youth Truth Survey. I don't know what day yet. Henry has gone in the past. I don't know with what's going on at home necessarily. What do they do? So basically it's multiple opportunities for you to get different kinds of training. It's talking about like, what are the current trends that are facing school boards? Or how does the school board work with the superintendent to pass a bond? Or when there's public controversy, how does the board interact with the
So
superintendent?
it's basically like
It-
chunks of like
yes.
different
Mhm, it's,
opportunities
yep.
to
mhm.
learn things.
You can pick and choose sessions and it's fun.
You had mentioned that Sandra could maybe schedule getting a room or whatever.
Yeah,
maybe
it's on my calendar.
We're talking about
Yeah,
maybe
going,
doing it.
yeah,
Yeah, because they literally go like within
Yeah.
maybe an hour.
it's cut.
It's crazy.
It's really cut.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the worst case scenario, you just cancel the reservation if you decide you can't, but at least then you'd have the room reservation.
Yeah, and so I think
I'm
that'd
on
be
it
cool.
on speed dial right at 7:59.
That's funny.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so that'll be fun. So that's all I have for my reports right now.
Okay, so that moves us into board focus. Does anybody have anything they want to bring up? I almost feel like we don't need to really address the transportation issue thing for, to Sacred Heart, because there's nothing going, like,
Yeah.
it hasn't been brought to our attention, so let's skip that.
Yep.
That's the only thing I had, so can we move into the consent items? Does anybody have anything?
So there was a revised copy.
Right.
Yeah, right here.
And this is the revised one right
So,
here.
and this is the one that we approved in mass.
Yes,
Yes,
correct.
Okay, so move that the Jervis School Board, number one, Board of Directors approve the consent items as listed in map 7.1, 7.2, 7.4, 7.5, 7.6. And I think. 7.3. Did I miss 7.3? No, 7.3. Okay. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I have it. Okay, so, and that was also approving the budget officer, so it looks like,
Yes,
so it looks like where are we at then?
we're on to action items. The first one is to look at your board and goals and my goals, and that is on page 42 of your packet. So basically what I did is they're the same goals that you saw last month, but I added some verbiage to number one to reflect the presentation that Raul and Creighton had given the board about the English language development goal for the year. And then I also looked at your application for the OSBA for the scholarship in the project. So I also included some verbiage that would support that work you're supposed to do for professional development in terms of understanding the project.
Is this like so pretty much the final then?
It's entirely up to you if this looks good to you guys. Yes, if you want to do a third reading on it.
I don't know that we need to do a third reading if everybody's okay with it, or if anybody has anything to bring up on it. Okay, awesome.
Early learners.
Right.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Mhm. And then my goals just really reflect supporting the board in their work as well as the administrators in the strategic plan work. So you saw the strategic plan a couple months ago. It's everything that, I mean, I'm just. Yeah. So if those look okay, if you're happy with that, then the action item wording is on page 41.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
So, Madam Chair. I move that the Jervis School District Number One Board of Directors adopt the superintendent and board goals as shown on action on the agenda item 09-22.8.1.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have it? Okay, this moves us to, yeah, the policy second reading on board member qualifications. Are we gonna go through, so we'll go,
Well, so this is your second reading.
Yeah.
If you're comfortable adopting them as they're written, that's fine. If you want to do a third reading, because you feel like you want more time to look at them, that's fine too. If you want to go ahead and adopt them, the language is on page 44.
But we can, there's maybe a couple pieces that I just kind of have like a question on.
That's totally fine. You
Okay.
can go by each one. You can ask questions about specific policies individually, and then you can go back and do your action.
And they're not, they're just, I think they're
Yeah.
just more clarifications
Sure.
than anything.
Mhm.
Two. Oh, I just wanted to know on the advisory committees to the board. If this is something like what we already had for like the pre-bond planning committee, is that sort of what follows the same pattern that we use? 'Cause I didn't see anything different or changes in there. really.
Yeah, it was just, so part of this, what's embedded in here is the Educational Equity Advisory Committee. And that's a new component that was passed by the legislative body during their last big session, and it's just revising, if your district is 10,000 or more people, when do you have to do it? And if it's less than 10,000, when do you do it? So we're already kind of doing this work with your equity.
lending,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is in our strategic plan.
Yeah.
When we kind of get more fleshed out with the lens, then you'll have a more developed equity committee.
Yeah.
At this point, you don't have to have it yet.
This was off of basically that mandatory
Yeah.
Senate Bill
Yes.
732.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm not even gonna try that one. Okay, I do have one, and it's on the superintendent contract.
Yeah,
Under the health benefits, it says that if the superintendent is no longer employed by the district, that they could still have their health benefits up to 65.
yeah, that doesn't mean that you're necessarily paying for them. That means that if I retire and hire back, just retire, I can access the benefits of the district at my cost.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that the board is paying for it.
Okay, that's where I
Yeah.
need to be at, because I'm like, why would we do that?
Yeah, no.
No offense.
would be nice.
No offense. Well,
And my car allowance.
oh, wait, I don't have one.
No, that's, yeah, it's just if I retire and I wanted to, it's cheaper that way for me as a retiree.
Okay, the layoff and recall for administrators. I was just curious more than anything, the district will develop administrative regulations to implement this policy. I guess, what does that actually kind of look like?
So, and OSBA has sample associate regulations that I can mimic, but basically it just says like, what is the bumping process? So for instance, in your license contract, teachers have a process they follow. If you have to cut an English teacher, well, it's not really this teacher, they can bump. Leave it like
Go
above the
down,
bars.
yeah,
Yeah,
got it.
and so that's what that would mean.
Okay, thank you. And this is just sort of. No, this one, we already worked out. and it's still-
I guess I did have one question under the Jervis School District 1, I think it's page 69. It says the Jervis School District and the Board of Directors has adopted a resolution on educational access and inclusion for all students. Please see website for specific wording. So where on our website, can you just show us? Thank you. I couldn't find it. I went to look and I was like, where is it?
The school board. Board resolutions.
Good God, can I get a new picture?
Just send it over.
Okay, remember that. Yeah.
You hold it.
So it's right there with your.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, well.
So, yeah, you just go to district
And
board,
got
and then
it.
all of your things that you do.
All right.
So, are right here, so like your board goals from last year, here's, we'll replace them.
Okay.
After tonight. And then you've got your resolutions. Like your roles, like what you're supposed to do,
Okay.
who was on your budget committee.
Right, but it was that one particular piece that,
Well, she just showed us.
on the top one,
Yes, right here.
that one, that's the one I want to read though.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah, got it, sorry.
That's one.
So that's the one that you
Yeah.
worked on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
wrote
There
that.
it is.
that's why I was like, oh, it was,
We weren't sure where it was at.
Oh, yeah.
So it was-
I didn't realize that. Okay.
and that it had been.
It's forever documented.
Yeah.
Here.
There you
All
go.
right then. Awesome, cool, okay. What's the other thing that we have?
Oh, in that same Jervis School District number 1, page 70. Question number 10 that says, should the opinion of any additional expert in the field be considered, yes or no? What is, I guess the question more than anything, and it's just more clarification. What is considered an expert in the field?
I would say depending on what the topic is, like maybe it would be, I mean, if it's an author,
Okay, that's,
what does current research say about different kinds of, literature or information? How should it be presented? What is the critique of, if the book, what's been the critique of the book? What's the pros and cons? Why is it good? Why is it bad? That kind of thing. So if it's just this book and it's just based on someone's opinion on why it's bad, and maybe nobody knows anything about mechanical engineering and why someone would object to this book, then we would go ask someone who would be able to say, oh, well, in some circles, they think this is not okay. Because there's a lot of things I don't know anything about, right?
No.
And so I always ask, like, well, who would know about this?
right. And where are you getting your information?
Yeah.
Share with us. Yes, that's, okay, that's good. The very last comment I have is on use of restraints or seclusion. Well, on number 8, it says any restraint that impedes or creates a risk of impending. Is that impending? No, impeding and breathing. Like. It would seem like a parent may come to us and say, well, that's a mask. What if we are back at that? What if 6 months from now,
Yeah.
months from now, dude, we're told by the federal government once
Mhm.
again that we all have to wear masks.
I think that your attorney would argue that a mask is not restraining a student from creating physical harm to himself or others. Like the idea of restraint and seclusion is that you're stopping that person from doing something. And so like no chokeholds, right? We're not doing that, right? So I don't think that they would be able to argue, bless you, that a mask is unlawful restraint.
But that was one of the arguments, was it not, that came up prior to? I just want the board to
Yeah.
be aware of
Yeah,
that, because
Yeah,
by no means are we out of the thick of this. So just.
And I mean, that would go into the number 2, right? Yeah.
well, I remember the restraint is like another person physically like touching you, doing like putting some,
Okay.
the mask
so-
is not.
Okay,
touching,
got it.
like,
Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
Then that's all that I had. Do you have another?
I guess we have one more.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's showing me the web, okay, on page 78. The district shall investigate all complaints regarding the use of restraints, okay, but the complaint procedure is available at the district administration office and is available on the homepage of the district website. I'm just, once
So-
again, I just want to know where on the.
When it
district
gets
website.
updated. Just the website. So usually here, special education section 504 plans, there should be a space here where Craig posts that.
Okay.
And he might not have it up there yet because this is a new policy.
Okay, nope, that's fine, that's fine. That's all I had.
Okay.
That moves us to. No, no, that was.
The word is on page 44.
Do we need to address this board nomination for position 11 and 12? We don't,
Only if you have the nomination.
we do not. Does anybody have that or want to? No? Okay, cool.
Do we,
But don't forget to
So
take
we
action
need to-
on the
yeah,
policy.
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
No, I was just wondering, because
Yeah.
it was in red, so it was a new piece on there. Okay, so
Ready
she
for a
said, you
motion?
said 40, you got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I move that the Jervis School District #1 Board of Directors approve changes on policy BBBA, BCF, CD, CPA, GBEA, GBEA, GCAA, GCBEB, DBBB, IFE, IGBAF, IM. And that's the 2 or 1?
With the IMB.
No.
Oh, I.
IIA, IIA-AR, I2, IIA-AR3, AEA, JEA, JGAB, as shown in action item 09-22-8.2.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay, it looks like we're down to discussion items on page 79, folks.
So you have some policies there for your first reading. There is the OSBA policy summary attached to the front of that, and these particular policies will revisit for a second reading and action items next month.
Okay, so I actually, did anybody have anything that they wanted to bring up on the first policy readings, or you're just? I don't want to remember.
I don't think I remember. There is one.
Oh, no.
Oh. One more.
I think that's quite a stretch.
Flexible.
She's gonna do a downward dog.
I just need to go on.
And I'm not, okay, I think it's more of my comment than anything else that I won't like. It's on page 108. The district's health and sexuality education will provide information on menstrual health and will be inclusive and affirming of transgender, non-binary, intersex, and two-spirited indigenous, I'm not even sure how to say it.
Queer.
Thank you. Students. Be positive and not fear or shame-based. Be age appropriate, be medically accurate, be culturally responsive, and be accessible for students with disabilities. I guess I was just kind of a little bit confused with medically accurate. What does that actually mean?
Well, so sometimes when you're not using a state-based or a national-based curriculum, but maybe you're going off of Wikipedia or a Google search, that's not necessarily really grounded in medically based materials. Like they're not vetted, it's not a primary source, it could be of opinion. And so, also the idea that, for instance, some of the myths of, say, having, your menstruation cycle is because you're evil, or you are, unpure now, or it's dirty. Those are not, none of those statements are medically accurate. Natural hormonal process that occurs during childbearing years.
Is this language here, this is the proposed new language that OSBA came up with?
Yes, and it's also grounded in state statute, but remember that if a parent objects to the idea of exposure to these terminologies, they're able to review the curriculum and have their child excused from it.
Okay.
So like if they're going into the sex ed unit,
Mhm.
which parents are notified, 7th, 8th grade, and then in high school, they can come and view what terminology is being used. And then they could say, yeah, for my kid, I would prefer that they're not in that lesson for that. So can you provide an alternative education lesson, which we do.
Under the human sexuality, AIDS, HIV one,
Where are we at?
that's on page 106.
Okay.
Under number 1, it says, promotes abstinence for school age youth and mutually monogamous relationships with an uninfected partner for adults. What is that?
So, the first course of education, or I guess you call it education, the best method for not transmitting AIDS or other diseases is to be abstinent.
Correct.
And so they're saying that that's what you'll promote first, and that if abstinence is not the choice you're making, then staying in that monogamous relationship, the fewer partners you have, the less likely you are to transmit.
This is a very strange wording, and also the word adults in here is very strange.
Yes.
Yeah.
That,
And quite disconcerting, frankly.
Yeah.
You don't have to adopt this policy. I can go back to OSBA and ask like what,
Yeah.
My preference would be no.
okay, so IG,
That was
no,
IGAI.
is it I or is it a J? I can't see, I'm sorry. Okay, I will flag it. And again, this is just the first reading. I was thinking we're still on
Yeah,
readings.
No.
So I can go back and, yeah.
no, this is odd, and no.
The word adult in there just,
Yeah,
yeah, bothers us.
sure.
Very
It
much
bothers
so.
me anyways, and I think it bothers you, so. That was all I had.
That was it really on those, but since we don't have to do anything.
Yeah, it's just a reading.
I think that moves us to the bond update.
Yes, so I kind of already gave you my bond update, my report. Is there anything else that you're wanting me to do? Any other direction at this point in time?
No, I think you've provided ample information to us, and we just need to get tracking.
You're doing amazing.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely amazing.
Just want to say
Thinking outside the
yeah,
box.
and thanks to all of our teachers, all of our
Surely, thank you.
staff and
That the board says, thank you.
they
Yes,
are
I-
doing a fantastic job.
Walking through the school, I just can't believe how blessed we are with teachers we
We have
have.
great-
They come here and have to deal with that every day.
Yep.
It was an eye opener. So thankful.
Yeah, yep, I am too. We're really lucky in this district to have such great
Sure
teachers.
they know that.
I will, I've written down your comments and I will email them directly tomorrow at my Friday
Very
message.
moving. I almost cried on their behalf.
Yes,
Like
yeah.
literally, that was.
They don't have,
Very, very
I mean,
I wish.
there's a middle school, they're lacking things. And then
A toilet.
the,
For goodness sake.
then the way the schools look, I mean, we need to get some pride.
I just feel like we are really making like progress though, you guys. Like, I do feel
I do
like
too. I feel like we're
people
getting.
are waking up.
Yeah. They just-
So we do have to go into executive session.
Okay.
So what you would need to do, Anna, is, close the current meeting and call us into executive session, and you have to cite the OAR.
Okay. Is it says ORS on here.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so, okay. This meeting is concluded at 9:07 PM, and now we will be going into executive session under ORS 192.6602F.